परम सत्कारयोग हाजरीन साध संगत दी सब माए भाई गज के आखो धन श्री सतगुरु राम सिंह सच्चे पातशाह। मैं एक तुक उच्चारण करके फिर असी अगाह नूं तुरांगे। जो जो दिसह सो सो रोगी रोग रहत मेरा सतगुरु जोगी। Hey, Sadhguruji is saying that wherever I look, I can see people that are filled with disease. The only person that I can see that is beyond disease is my Sadhguru. Then a question arises in our mind that what disease is Sadhguruji talking about? The disease that Sadhguruji is talking about here is the diseases of the mind. When we read Gurbani, we see that time and time again, Gurbani is written in first person. I'll give you an example. One, Ujot Sarupaha, Apana Mool Pashan. A lot of Gurbani that Sadhguruji wrote wasn't written in the sense of a story or written in the sense of a novel, written in the third person. Sadhguruji wrote the Gurbani for the benefit of the Sikh, that when the Sikh would read that Gurbani, he would talk to himself, he would become antarmukhi. The word antarmukhi means to start looking within. Just recently this week, the world, and especially India, was celebrating the independence of India. However, when we listen to Sadhguru Jagajit Singh Ji's Upadesh, Sadhguruji reminds us of the mission of Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji. The mission of Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji, what is repeated by Sadhguru Jagajit Singh Ji, Sache Paatshah says we haven't completed that yet. And Sadhguruji said, that what did Sadhguruji do to make their Sikh independent? What freedom did Sadhguruji give to their Sikh? They freed their Sikh from the diseases of the mind. Whether that was externally, through the indulgence of alcohol and meat, where Sadhguruji told their Sikhs to start keeping their hair. They had forgotten the Sikhi of Guru Gobind Singh. Whether that was the internal elements or fighting the diseases of the mind. In Gurbani it talks about the Panj Chor, the Panj thieves, the 5 thieves. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mohankar. Sadhguru Jagajit Singh says that Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji gave us freedom from these 5 things. But then a question that comes to the mind is, what is the mind actually? When we think to ourselves, what is the mind? It's not really something we can capture. If I think, okay, here's the mind within my brain, but then Sadhguruji says in the Pavitra Upadesh that the mind is so powerful that without a visa, I could go to Australia. Without a visa, I can go to Africa. Without a visa, I can even go to North Korea. This is the power of the mind, faster than light, faster than any car that you see. This is the power of the mind. It's not really something that you can view either. It's not something that you can see with these eyes. It's not something that you can feel with your hands. It's not something that you can taste. It's something that is beyond what we call these jnana in the way we are experiencing this world, through our eyes, through smell, through taste, through touch. The mind is beyond that. So then I'll go to my original question, what is the mind? When we read Sadhguru Vilas, Sant Santokh Singh Ji writes that according to the will of the Creator, this creation was created. We read in Guru Nanak Dev Ji writes, Arbad Narbad Tundu Kara Gaganam Tarnana Gagana Hukam Abara Naad Narayan Na Chand Na Suraj Sun Samad Lagayega. That there was this time where there was nothing what you can see here visually. Akal Purkh, the creator, was in pure primal meditation. But this sargun that you can see, this visual element of Akal Purkh that you can see, did not exist. Then Guru Gobind Singh Ji writes, Ek Murat, Anek Darsan, Keen Roop Anek. That from oneness, through the wish of Akal Purkh, multiplicity was created. But when that multiplicity happened, we say every day when we start Ardas, when we start any Gurbani, Ek Oankar. So we've come to the one Akar Purkh, Oankar. What is that talking about? Brahme Mahapurush, Jade Mahant hoye ne, Brahmgyani hoye ne. They say Oankar is everything that you can see. Anything that you can experience is Oankar. And during Mahapurush, they split this into three things. And even Guru Nanak Dev Ji is talking about this. That when the creation was created, the first thing that Akal Purkh created was Shakti. Guru Gobind Singh Ji talks about this. Khanda Prathama Sadhaka, then Sabse Sar Upaya. Khanda here meaning power. But Sadhguru Ji here uses a beautiful word to explain it beautifully and explain it very accurately, which is Khanda. Khanda, anybody that's seen a Khanda, is the two-edged sword. One side of the Khanda was pure Shuddha Shakti, pure power. And the other side of that was Maya. Maya is this illusion that we talk about. From that illusion, from that Maya, that is where multiplicity began. And here then Guru Nanak Dev is saying, Ek Sansari, Ek Pandari, Ek Vaidipa. Ek Sansari, there was one that was the creator. Ek Pandari, the one that was there to protect you. Ek Vaidipa, the one that was there then to destroy you. There's these three things at play that are running in our day-to-day lives. The creative power, the protective power, and the power of destruction. From those three, those were related to the three qualities that we can see in this world. Those are Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Satogun, we can see this even on ourselves. Sadhguru Ji says, Jo Brahmande, Sui. All these things I'm talking about, we have them in our bodies. I'm not talking about anything that is external from this body. We all have a creative element to ourselves. We all have an element within ourselves to protect. And also there's an element within ourselves to destroy. So when we're starting to talk about Satogun, this is the nature to want to speak the truth. This is the nature to want to help others. And from this Satogun element is what then created the mind. Because when the creation was then created, Brahma is there and he's thinking, I've been given the Zumevari, I've been given the task to create. But I do not understand the expanse of what I am experiencing. And due to that lack of understanding of what that expanse was, Brahma did urge to Akal Purkh that I want to create such a creation so that I can understand you. That's where all of these Jeevs were created. That's where all of these unique souls were created. All of those unique souls had that capability to realize that one Akal Purkh. That's what the soul was made for. We were created, the one created. And to establish the creation, Brahma wanted to understand his creator. So the Jiva was created, the Atma, the soul was created to understand his creator, to understand his Vara creator. However, what happened? Because of the need of the creation to have Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, in some ways the Rajogun and Tamogun became more than the Satogun. You'll see this wherever you meet somebody, where there's an increase of Rajogun and Tamogun, you will naturally not want to sit with that person. However, where there's an increase of Satogun, there's an increase of understanding. This is where the mind comes from, where consciousness comes from. But not to dwell on that point for too much. I'll go back to what is the power of the mind. One time I was speaking to my Vidya Guruji, and he was saying this is the power of the mind, that one time I went to the building site. He was a builder by trade. He is a builder by trade. And his workers went there and they were going to build a conservatory. And the workers said that we don't have any plan of how we're going to make this conservatory. And my Vidya Guruji said in response to them, don't worry, while I was sitting doing my Nityanem in the morning, I created all the plans and I even made it. Sometimes we're sitting down, as we make plans for the rest of the day. This is the power of the mind. It's even to this point where sometimes we think, why does bad happen to us? Somebody asked the Mahatma, why does bad happen to me? Why is bad happening to me? To my knowledge, I'm not doing anything wrong to anybody. That Mahatma asked that to the Asu, that person who wants to gain understanding. He asked that to the Asu, last week on Wednesday, what did you eat for lunch? And that person says, I can't remember. And the Mahanta says, the Sadguru says, the Guru says, that if you can't even remember the things that you are eating to keep you alive, how can you say that you're not making any mistakes? This is the power of the mind. Even beyond that, when we look at modern culture and popular culture, a lot of people are currently aspiring to many, many big celebrities such as Elon Musk. We look at Jeff Bezos, people that are very worldly successful. But Sadhguru is saying here, Jojo Disa, so Loki, Loga Rahata, Mera Sadhguru Joki. That the only one that is beyond this disease is my true Sadhguru. Here the Sadhguru is referring to the Sadhguru, the Brahmgyani, the enlightened being, that knows their true self, that has worked on their true self. But then the question is, what are these diseases of the mind? What is this fire that Sadhguru is talking about that has inflicted the world? One day Sadhguru Ram Singh was doing a havan, and a small child comes to Sadhguru and asks, why are you doing this havan? Sadhguru takes that child, and anybody that's been in India, everybody would see that not like here, anybody here, if you climb on the roof, you'd probably think there's something wrong with them. But in India, it's quite normal to go on the roof. Sadhguru took that child onto the roof, and what he showed that child, that everywhere he could see there was fire. Only where the havan was being done, there was no fire. And then Sadhguru recited a book by Baba Faridji. Farida, main janya dukh mujhko, dukh sabaya jak. That I thought that I was the only one experiencing pain. However, Uche Charke Dekhya Ta Kar Kar Eho Ak. Kar Kar Eha Ak. But when I climbed up high and I looked and I actually analyzed the world, all I saw was fire. But then the question comes, what is this fire that I'm talking about? What are these diseases that I'm talking about? When we look at the tradition of spirituality of our tradition, we split disease into 3 different sections. Those 3 sections are Ad, Vyad, and Ubad. The one I'm talking about here is Ad. Ad is the diseases of the mind. Even sometimes, now, even in our workplaces, there's a lot of talk happening about depression. And it's true that even scientifically it's been proven that to this mind it is possible to get disease, such as depression, such as anxiety, the same way we get a fever, the same way we get physical illnesses, the same way we can get mental illnesses. Even when koi Sadhguru ji mein koi arj karta, even Satyapashi says going to therapy is important. But main ek arj karna chahna. That therapy is the same as when we have a fever, we get antibiotics. And those antibiotics can solve our issue for that moment in time. And going to therapy, it can help us go through those different thoughts and actually deal with those different thoughts. But what is the thing that can actually get us to the point where we get that full understanding? where we can always be happy. When we look at the history of Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji, when Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji was in Maharaj Nonehal Singh's unit, in Maharaj Ranjit Singh's army, because of Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji's nature, Sadhguru Ji every morning would wake up early. However, the rest of the Singhs would not wake up with Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji to begin with. And one day Sadhguru Ji, when everybody else was still asleep, Sadhguru Ji ne बहुत ऊंची आवाज दे विच कहा सारियां नूं, in a very loud voice said to everybody, "O soldiers, O Singhs, why didn't you wake up with me to fight Kaljug? Why didn't you wake up with me in the morning to fight?" And the soldiers say, "What fight are you talking about? There's no war happening outside. Why are you getting us up for no reason?" And Sadhguru Ji says, "No, I'm waking you up to fight with your mind. If you do not begin to fight with your mind, then you will never know what your true self is. You will never be able to reach the ultimate point of happiness which Gurmani is talking about." We come to the Gurudwara to try and fix our mind. And then the only people that come here are the ones that want peace of mind. Nobody comes here for anything else, if you actually think about it. But then we come here, and then we have to think what we're actually asking for. Somebody comes and asks for a car, somebody comes and asks for a house. However, you get the car, you get the house, but you'll never get that satisfaction. However, there are those rare Gursikhs that come to Sadhguruji and say, "Bless me with knowledge." But then I'll go to my actual point of what I actually wanted to discuss, which is these three doshas, these three types of diseases that are affecting the mind. The first dosh that the Brahmyanis talk about is mal, is filth. Everybody hears this Gurmani book being recited, Janam Janam ki mal lagi, kala hua sya. That from multiple different life forms I have gained this filth on my mind. What is this filth Sadhguru is talking about? The way to recognize that filth within us, the tools to recognize that within us, is if we have jealousy towards others, this means we have filth of the mind. If we have that nature to say one thing and then do another thing. For example, I tell my wife that I'm going to move something, but I don't do it. This is the filth of the mind. If within my business, I tell somebody that I'm going to sell something for this much, but then I sell it for another amount, this is the filth of the mind. And Sasarid mein every arth karda that all of the dukh that we have, Sadhguru Prakash Singh both siddhe bachan san, Sadhguru Pratap Singh didn't beat around the bush. Sadhguru says most of the dukh that we have, most of the pain that we have in this life, Sadhguru ji de bachan ne mere apne bachan ne mainu maaf karna, Sache Paatshah both siddhe bachan san. Sadhguru says, "Ye dukh sade apniyan bevkoofiyan karke hai." That this dukh is due to our own ignorance. If I was to give some examples, when Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed, a great Gursikh of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, when they come to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the first thing Guru Gobind Singh Ji says to Bhai Mani Singh Ji is, "Maniya, jaake bhandya manja karo. जिवे भांडे मांजोगे ओवे मन भी रच जाएगा." The way of washing filth from the mind is seva. This is the tool Sadhguru Ji has given us. And as I go through these different diseases of the mind, you're going to start noticing that Sadhguru Ji has already given you the tools to actually overcome those. It's just that sometimes we don't have that knowledge, we're not contemplating on it, so we're doing things and we're zoned out. But once we start doing things consciously, then it starts to have an effect. Even when Subha Sahib Singh Ji was known as the Ladla Sapoot of Guru Ram Singh Ji, the beloved son of Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji. When they come to Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji, before they were Nirmala, Nirmala Sikh were known to be very knowledgeable. He comes to Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji and he thinks within his mind, I've come to Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji and Sache Paatshah Ji will give me a post that I can teach all of the young Vidyarthis, all of the young students in Pensar. The first thing Sadhguru Ram Singh Ji sees is that he's got ego of his own knowledge. Sadhguru Ji says to Subha Sahib Singh Ji, that your first duty is jaake Panda manja karo. There's a Sakhi from the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji daily would prepare for langar for their Guru Sikhs. And one day Sachi Pashi says, instead of making langar at the Gurudwara, tusi karo kari langar ko. So each Sikh, you divide up the sangar, somebody feed the Guru Sikhs and somebody go and eat the langar. So all of the people that were quite rich within the Sad Sangat, they took more people. Some took 5, some took 6, some had taken 10 Guru Sikhs. And some of the Guru Sikhs were greedy. They were quite poor financially. And the ones that were rich, they thought that if we force those Guru Sikhs that are poor, we'll tell them, this will be a Guru Sikh lad. And then when they get to their house, they won't even have anything to give them. And when they come back, Sachi Pashi Ji, I don't know Sachi Pashi will tell them off for not giving them anything. The Guru Sikhs go, the people that went to the houses of those that were rich, they make them jalebi, laddu, gulab jamun, prasad, all those things that we think are very tasty. That Guru Sikh, as he's gone to his house, all he could give was a bata of cold water. And he says, Gurmukh pyare, tusi ek jal shapro. When they come back, Sachi Pashi asks, what's everybody eating today? Those Guru Sikhs that thought that we are very rich financially, they started pushing the people forward who they had given food to. And said, tusi dasso Sachi Pashi, tusanan ki shakya, sana khushiyan malaluya. So there's 10 Sadhguruji, we had jalebi, laddus, adiyadak. And then those Guru Sikhs that thought we'll push those people forward, they also said, Sachi Pashi asked those Guru Sikhs what they gave. Sadhguruji asked that Sikh, his name was Bhai Malyagar Singh. He said, Bhai Malyagar Singh, tusi o Sikh nu ki shikaya si? He stayed quiet. He didn't know, I didn't kuch nahi shika sakya. Main aap ji da gareeb Sikh hu. And then the Sikh that actually went there, he said, Sachi Pashi Ji, he's lying. Sachi Pashi Bhai Malyagar Singh, aisa keh rahe hain ki tu jhoot bolda paya. Bhai Malyagar Singh says, Sadhguruji, I gave this Guru Sikh some bata of jal, and when you would give meva to the Sad Sangat, I was collecting that with me, and I would never eat it. When I would take it home, I would put it in my gadava of jal, and I let all of the essence of the giri, of the meva seep into the water. That's what I had at home, that's what I gave to the Guru Sikh. And the Guru Sikh that says that Bhai Malyagar Singh was lying, he says, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, mainu inj japada. It seems that today I have gone and had the ambrosia nectar, I've gone and had amrit. I've never had anything in my life that's so tasty. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji bahut khush ho jande ne, Bhai Malyagar Singh nu thapda dende ne, ye kehinde ne, Bhai Malyagar Singh, Sikh eda da hona chahiye. And Sadhguru Ji eh bhi ucharan karte ne, sati de santokhi khaye. Okay, the one that is giving, he should be truthful, and the one that is receiving should have content within their heart. This is the sign of those Guru Sikhs that don't have mali in their minds. They are not afflicted by the disease of mal. After Rajgir ne do dosha reh gaye ne, jis asana di azad wo bhi kar lo. The next dosh is vikshep dosh. Vikshep dosh is the wavering of the mind. And we see this daily actually when we're even sitting, even in our day-to-day tasks, when we're sitting to do work. We're trying to do our work, but our mind will be somewhere else. Or sometimes we're trying to sit to do our Nam Simran, but it's like somebody's playing a prank on us. That only when you sit to do your Nam Simran, right at that moment, then your mind starts thinking of every single thing that the rest of the day you might not be thinking about. They have a shared dosh. What is the sign that this is being improved within the Guru Sikh, that we are moving away from Vikshep dosh? One time Sadhguru Jagajit Singh Ji, a group of Jathedars, a group of Pracharaks, people like me, they were saying to Sadhguru Ji Sacha Pasha, you give so much love to Pandit Gopal Singh. You give them so much time to speak on stage. You give them priority. Why don't you ever give us time? Aaj di kirpa naal, you have blessed us with knowledge as well. Why don't you give us time? And Sadhguru Ji says, that today, koi khas prana aaya si, a guest had come into the satsang, and that guest was there to give a speech. And Sadhguru says to those group of Jathedars, that when Sadhguru Ji was in the darbar, when that guest had come into the darbar and they gave a speech, repeat to me what that guest was saying. All the Jathedars started looking at each other. They didn't have a clue what that guest was saying. They didn't have the skill of listening. And then Sadhguru Ji turns to Panditji and says, Panditji, what was that guest saying? So Panditji recited what that guest was saying word for word. That when the mind is wandering, you cannot pay attention to anything. You could be talking to somebody, you're listening to them, you're looking at them, and then you still have to say to them, could you repeat that please? I wasn't listening to you. Even sometimes when we're conversing with other people, we're not conversing to listen to them and then reply according to what we've heard. You sometimes hear two people talking, I say it all the time. You hear two people talking, one person saying one thing, the other person saying another thing. If you recorded the conversation doesn't even make sense. Sadhguru Pratap Singh Ji one time they were in the Dora in Africa. And during that Dora, a group of Sikh, they wanted to go to the cinema. And they thought, we'll go at night when Sadhguru Ji is resting, so that Sachipashi won't find out. Then another group of Gursikhs said, well, we're not going to go with you, some of that like that. If Sachipashi wakes up and finds out, we're finished. And then Sachipashi wakes up. Sachipashi gets ready for the Asadiwar. Sachipashi is sitting in the Asadiwar. And a group of Sikhs that had gone to see the cinema, they had come late. And Sadhguru Ji apne moj de vich, Sachipashi randomly says, Ge hazar, hazar, hazar ge hazar. The Sikhs that were sitting in the cinema, they couldn't remember what they had seen. The whole time they were sitting there shaking, that if Sadhguru Ji wakes up, they will find out that we're sitting here. The whole time they're remembering Sadhguru Ji. The Sikhs that were sitting in the satsang, they're thinking, I wonder what the other Sikhs are sitting in the cinema. This is not me saying that we should go to the cinema and then remember Sadhguru Ji there and not come to the Gurdwara. It's just as an example that Sadhguru Ji says that when you come here, your mind should be here also. And then the last one is the dosha of avaran. Avaran dosha is a bit more difficult to explain, but it's not knowing your true self. And it's the dukh that I said at the start, Mantu jod surupaha apana mool pashan. We are not this body, we are not this mind, we are not this identity that we associate ourselves with. We are Sattva-chit Ananda Swarup. Our form is that of truth, our form is that of pure consciousness, our form is that of pure bliss. And Pranidhari Mahantondasi, Mahapashundasi, they used to give a metaphorical story to explain to people that what avaran dosh can do to somebody. And they'll give this example that one day there was a young lion, and the mother has given birth to the cub. However, due to the nature of the wilderness, the mother runs away. And that little cub, to survive, sees a group of sheep. And the little cub goes and stays within the sheep. As the little cub gets older, he looks at all of the sheep and sees, okay, the sheep eat grass, I'm going to eat grass. The sheep go and suckle the milk from their mothers, I'm going to go do that as well. The lion never realizing that I'm not a sheep. As the lion gets older and older, he's under this illusion that he's a young sheep, and he's of the Jamati of the sheep. As he gets older, another lion, the nature of lions is to go and attack sheep, wild sheep. The lion goes and attacks the sheep and thinks the lion that is attacking them is thinking, why is there another lion running with them and getting scared of me? He's the same as me. So the lion, instead of trying to go capture after the sheep, he goes and tries to capture after the lion. When he goes and captures the lion, he says to the lion, that why are you running away from me? You are like me. And the lion says, no, I am a sheep. And the lion says, what are you talking about? And the lion thinks there's no other way I can explain it to him, because you can think from a younger age, he's been around sheep, he's never seen his reflection. The lion takes the other lion and shows him the reflection in the water, and shows the lion that, no, look, you are a sheep, you are a lion. However, only when that water is still would he be able to see his reflection. If that water is shaking, if that water is dirty, if that water is filled with ignorance, you will never be able to see that true self. And then I'll finish with one last sakhi. Maaf karna, Satsangaji, I've taken extra time. There's one sakhi where you can see all of these different qualities in one gursikh, and it will take your minds closer to what I'm trying to explain. And that is the Sikh called Sant Kandara Singh. Sant Kandara Singh is the Langri of Sadguru Hari Singh. And the Langri of Sadguru Hari Singh, he is very elevated Mahapurush, very elevated being. He stayed with Sadguru Hari Singh and actually understood Sikhi. During the summer months, Sadguru Hari Singh Ji, and it both Puratan reads si Namtariyan, which was a tradition within the Namtaris, that during the Barano, like mid-afternoon, the Sikhs would go into the caves where there would be high grass or where there would be a tree, and they would sit within there where nobody could see them, or there'd be some shade just to do meditation. So Sadguru Hari Singh Ji during the hot months would go there to do their Namsimran. Sant Kandara Singh Ji, for his own love, he would make Shardai. Those that don't know, Shardai is where you collect materials such as almonds, and there's a couple other things that go in there. You have to get a pot, like a mortise and pestle, but a larger one, and you actually have to grind it yourself first. You take that material, then you shine it, meaning you put it through water, and then the actual essence of that, that's what we call Shardai. He would prepare that for Sadhguru. As he prepared it and he went on his way, he would take it to Sadhguru daily. And as he goes, as he's traveling to go to give the Shardai to Sadhguru, he meets a Rahi, a traveler. And the traveler says to Sant Kandara Singh, I'm very thirsty, please could you give me something to drink? Sant Kandara Singh, he is beyond the Maldosh, beyond Vikshep, beyond the Varana. He doesn't see the difference between their Sadhguru Hari Singh Ji and this is a Rahi. He sees Sadhguru Hari Singh Ji within all. And he gives the Shardai to that Rahi. Then he goes back, prepares the Shardai again, then another Rahi stops him. This happens 7 times. We would think Sachi Pacha is waiting for us, I might get in trouble. And Nanu Gyansi, he had knowledge, he was enlightened. 7 times he makes it, 7 times he goes to try and take it. 7 times he is stopped. On the 8th time, still within his mind, he's thinking, I'm so late to give Shardai to Sadhguru. He goes to give that Shardai to Sadhguru. As Sadhguru drinks it, he says, Sant Kandara Singh, I have never drunk Shardai that's tasted this nice in my whole life. The Sadhguru Hari Singh Ji says, I'm so happy with you. Anybody that serves you will be the same as serving 50 Gursikhs. In this you can see Sant Kandara saying he has no filth in his mind, he has no wavering in his mind, and he has knowledge, he has Gyan. So Satsangaji, when we come to the Satsangat, we are coming here for Gyan, we're coming here for our minds to illuminate. And Sadhguruji has given us all of these different tools to get there. Those 3 things that I was talking about, Manu, Vikshep, Avaran, Sadhguruji Kirpa Karan, that we can go beyond these 3 dosh. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਆਖਰੀ ਅਰਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਧਿਆਨ ਚ ਆ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ one time Sadhguru Hari Singh Ji was going to all of the different sevaks of Pani Singh and hugging each of the Rangaris and the Sevadars one by one. And Sadhguru Ji is going through the line. The person that was at the end of the line, Sadhguru Ji doesn't hug that Gursikh and walks away. ਉੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਏਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਬਰ ਜੀ does that and ਅੰਦਰ ਹੋਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੋਰ something else inside something else on the outside. ਉਹ ਸਿੰਘ ਕੱਟ ਗਿਆ. He got annoyed. He said, Sabri ji, how can you not give me a hug? Do you not love me? Am I not close to you? You've given hugs to everybody else. Sare ne khushiyan deti, you've given so much blessings to everybody else. Why did you miss me out? And Sabri ji says, tu mainu baharu milna ja andro milna. Sabri ji says, do you want to meet me on the outside or on the inside? So Sabri ji ek kripa karan ke sanu andro milan deho sajjan sisiya jo hobe sahib se hume. As I was speaking, if I said anything that hurt anybody or if I made any mistakes while I was speaking, Sabri ji khima karan te main khima da jaja kaha Sat Sri Akal. Sarvajanic आज के आखो तानसरी सतगुरु राम सिंह सच्चे पातशाह, तानसरी सतगुरु उदय सिंह सच्चे पातशाह.
एक ओंकार वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. श्री भगवती जी की सहाय पातशाही 12वीं. प्रथम भगवती सिमर का श्री गुरु नानक जी ते आए. फिर अंगद गुरु ते अमरदास रामदासा हुई सहाय. अर्जन हर गोबिंद नो सिमरो श्री हरि राय. श्री हरि कृष्ण के आज्ञा जिस कुठे सब दुख जाए. गुरु तेग बहादुर सिमरिया करनो नित्य आवै ताई. 10वें पातशाह अमृत के दाते श्री गुरु गोविंद सिंह जी सब थे हो सहाय. श्री सतगुरु बालक सिंह सिमरिया धर्म का मार्ग दिया बताए. अकाल पुरख अंतर्यामी खंडा ब्रह्मण्डा के बाल. श्री सतगुरु राम सिंह जी जमा के लिया छड़ाए. जोत का जामा श्री सतगुरु हरि सिंह जी सिमरिया जना टूटी लई बुलाए. अटल प्रतापी वडे प्रताप वाले सतगुरु प्रताप सिंह जी जना काल जुग विच सुख शोभ नाम पानी का प्रवादिता चलाए. सर्वकला सम्राट श्री सतगुरु जगजीत सिंह जी महिमा कही ना जाए. हाजरा हजूर मेहरबान सतगुरु ने सिंह जी सब थे हो सहाय. गुरु जी के 4 साहिबजादे 5 प्यारे 40 मुक्ति 80 शहीद. नियम शहीदा सिंह की कमाई का ध्यान धर नाम चेते आवे. सतगुरु राम सिंह सच्चे पातशाह जी प्रार्थना है गरीब नवाजी साडा धर्म ते सिद्ध बनया रहे. सतगुरु जी गौ जी के कष्ट को दूर करो. करो सिटी आपका पावन पवित्र नाम जपे. किसी को कोई दुख न होवे. हे सच्चे पातशाह सतगुरु ने सिंह जी आप जी के हुक्म रजाव. सच्चे पातशाह आप जी की साथ संगत हफ्तावारी दिन मनाते हुए पिछले पैर पावन पवित्र नाम के सिमरन कीते हैं. श्री सतगुरु राम सिंह जी आप जी के दर्शन के निमित्त सच्चे पातशाह हर जस कथा कीर्तन हुए. आप जी के पावन पवित्र उपदेश श्रवण कीते हैं. कृपा करके बख्शिश करो सारे मन मंदिर जो सोच वसो. गुरमत गुर सिखी गुर चना की बड़ी प्रति का दान बख्शत करो. सच्चे पातशाह जो भी माई भाई तरफ करके आप जी के संग के विच हाजिर हो रहे इतना दिन लोग पूरे करो. सच्चे पातशाह बच्चियां नु गुरमत गुर सिखी चढ़दी कला होवे. गुरमत सच्चे पातशाह कृपा करो सारी सासन दे परिवारां दे घरां दे विच ग्रह सुख शांतियां बख्शत करो. तेरे सेवक परिवार किसी की पदार्थ छोड़ के नारायण सच्चे पातशाह इस वेले 6 शहीदियां आईया हैं. सच्चे पातशाह जिन्ना जिन्ना प्यारा गुरु खां बीबियां मारियां पाइयां को जो जो मनोरथ करके शहीदियां आईया ने. सच्चे पातशाह सबना दे मनोरथ पूरे करो. सब नूं नामदान बख्शत करो. शरीर तंदुरुस्तियां बख्शिश करो. सच्चे पातशाह ऐश वेले गरीब नवाजी आप जी के भेजे हुए पदार्थों विचों मिष्ठान प्रसाद हाजिर कीता. आप जी को बुलाओ. सीत प्रसाद संत नूं मिले. जो सके आपका नाम जपे तो आपके नाम की वर्ते. रख लो बख्श लो दे करके दर्शन बख्शो. श्री सतगुरु राम सिंह नाम चढ़ी कला तेरी भावने सर्वत का ही भला. जो बोले सो निहार. सत श्री अकाल.